you offended by someone saying that their political opponent should be put in jail? Okay, well,
it's not even about being offended. You should never just preemptively assume your opponent should be in jail like that.
He has done his entire political career.
Tell you what, for what she's done, they should lock her up.
Hey guys, I'm Mike, and in this video, we're looking at a political panel where the tension is noticeable before the debate even begins. From the opening moments, it's clear not everyone is equally comfortable with where the discussion is headed. The contrast in confidence, tone, and reactions sets the stage for how this exchange unfolds, and those early signals end up being just as revealing as the arguments themselves. Before we get into it, let me know where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's watch the clip together.
Newsom is lamenting the remaining years of the Trump era. In an interview with the New York Times, the California governor got emotional about Donald Trump's rhetoric.
I can't even conceive of 3 more years of this. It really is. I mean, what's happening to our kids? Their brains are already being scrambled by social media and everything else we didn't even talk about. But this is their role model? A guy who calls someone a retard? A guy who calls someone a piggy? This is our role model, the President of the United States?
Over the last 6 months, Newsom has been emulating Trump's brash, all-caps-laden, and often AI-generated social media persona. And it's not just Democrats. Listen to these Republicans who rejected the president's demand for a new map in Indiana.
The efforts were mean-spirited from the get-go. So, I think they get what they get. I wish that President Trump would change his tone.
I had released a post about my displeasure over some a slur that the president used. Words have consequences, and for me, it was just added to a litany of reasons of why this was just bad policy and not good timing, and wasn't deserving of my support.
That last Indiana lawmaker that you just heard, one of the reasons that he said that he rejected this map was when he heard Trump use the R-word slur. He has a child with a disability. And I wonder if Gavin Newsom, you think, Brianna, is hitting on something that is bubbling up here. When you have Republicans saying Trump is going too far, is that a sentiment that could hurt Trump and Republicans going forward?
I don't think so. I think to the state senator, Bo Boachek, who just spoke, I can understand why a parent with a child with Down syndrome would be sensitive to the use of the R word, and I completely agree. But I do think to his point about words mattering, words matter, but policies matter more. And if he cares about the dignity of people and children with Down syndrome, that he should want to make sure Republicans have a good, fair fighting chance in Congress, because it's parties like Congressman Moskowitz's party who votes against legislation that would ban abortion solely on the basis of Down syndrome. And so if you want to focus on the dignity of those with Down syndrome, words may hurt, but policies will hurt more. So I think he should have voted with the Republicans to redistrict.
Not having insurance is also going to hurt.
So you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah,
you think it's important
voted it down.
For on the abortion piece, for children with Down syndrome to have a chance of life. But when they are here, you're fine with the president denigrating them with a slur?
Abby, I think everybody at this table, at least for my generation, the lexicon, unfortunately, uses the R word not to smear or malign anybody.
Playground in 5th grade.
No,
not
Abby, I'm telling you right now, that is a word that unfortunately is just thrown around as if you're calling someone an idiot or a moron. I'm not defending it, but I'm saying that President Trump certainly was not using it to attack someone who has a legitimate disability. I think we all know that too. Calling Tim Walz the R word is not trying to say Tim Walz has Down syndrome.
Well, look, Tim Walz also has a child with disabilities. So saying.
I mean, I think, we're in the wicked season, and we got used to Trump defying gravity. And we thought, a lot of people thought that was going to happen forever. I think that gravity is now taking hold. I believe that there's a political gravity that's happening with Donald Trump because people are getting exhausted by it. I think this is what was happening at the end of the first term. And I think this is where Newsom has to tread a little bit more lightly here, because emulating Donald Trump, by the end of his presidency, people were exhausted by Donald Trump. They did not want exact replica of Donald Trump. They wanted something completely different from that. And I think that, Gavin Newsom has to figure out if he wants to continue the next 3 years as being the anti-Trump by being kind of a mirror image of him.
Yeah, can he do both?
Ezra Klein has an interview with him basically saying he is the front runner for the Democratic Party. Yet what did he put out? An AI-generated photo of the President of the United States in handcuffs this week. He told the Indiana governor, get down on your knees today in a post on X. So, I don't know, on one hand, the president can't do it, but yet...
This is the moment where standards quietly collapse, not all at once, but through excuses. Language that once would have ended a political career is now brushed off as just talk or taken out of context. What makes it more serious isn't a single comment, but how quickly an entire political ecosystem rushes to defend, minimize, or reframe it. The real shift is normalization. Rhetoric that targets entire groups no longer triggers reflection or restraint, only instant justification. And that's where the line gets blurred. There's a clear difference between criticizing policies or leadership and singling people out based on identity. That distinction used to be obvious. Now it's treated as inconvenient. Instead, coded language replaces blunt insults. Entire communities are framed as threats, and double standards become routine. When those patterns are pointed out, the response isn't denial, it's mockery, as if calling it out is the real problem. That's why the tone on the other side is changing, not because people want conflict, but because silence has started to feel like acceptance. And at a certain point, pushing back isn't escalation, it's necessary. That turning point is exactly what you're seeing happen here.
Chicken and egg kind of situation.
What are you talking about? No, we're talking about verbiage. We're talking about verbiage.
I'm saying what's chicken and egg is that you're sort of implying that Gavin Newsom started it and that it's fair then
I didn't say Gavin Newsom started
Republicans to continue it when
we all
when
know
fact,
how the president speaks.
Yeah, exactly.
We all know how the president speaks. He got reelected with 77 million votes.
Do you remember this? This is a Trump post from 2024 where he reposts a truck with Joe Biden hogtied on the streets and Trump flags flying. So I mean, Gavin Newsom's point is, and trust me, I think part of the question I'm asking is, can he do this, right? But his point is that Trump does this every day. Now, all of a sudden, Republicans are up in arms. You've got Republicans like Peter Navarro saying, I went to prison defending the Constitution because of woke assholes like you who weaponized our justice system. This isn't close to funny. All you're doing is inciting more violence. Was it violence when Trump did it? And why are Republicans suddenly so offended?
Look, I can't speak to those Republicans, and I'm not arguing with you. We know how Donald Trump speaks, and he's very blunt. That's one of the things that people of America like about him. And sometimes he uses words I don't always agree with. But I'm just saying, for the media and others to now prop up Gavin Newsom and say he's great when he's putting out AI-generated photos of our president in handcuffs on a sidewalk, well, then what's the difference?
Offended by it.
I'm saying, what's the difference? I'm saying, what's the difference? You guys want to slam the president constantly.
Are you offended by someone saying that their political opponent should be put in jail? Okay, well,
it's not even about being offended. You should never just preemptively assume your opponent should be in jail like that.
He has done his entire political career.
Tell you what, for what she's done, they should lock her up. It's disgraceful. Hillary Clinton has to go to jail, okay? She has to go to jail. You should lock them up. Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary.
All right, so tale as old as time. Lock her up. This was 2016. This was 4 years before Joe Biden. This was 4 years before the alleged lawfare. Lock her up. What are we talking about here?
First of all, he said should. Did Donald Trump weaponize his Department of Justice to lock Hillary Clinton up? No, he didn't. But did Joe Biden lock up Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon, and try Donald Trump?
The reporting is, in his first term, he certainly tried. And he had a different government at the time, a different cabinet at the time, and it didn't work. But any of this, but I just think it is so interesting that memes and that threats of, or not even threats, just memes about locking up your political opponent are suddenly so offensive
it's not about being
to
really
the other side of the aisle when it was
it's
fine
about being,
when Trump did it for the last 8 years.
I mean, listen, A for effort on that locker up thing. Okay, but here's what I would say, right? At the end of the day, the game has changed. And what Democrats have decided is we may not like the game. We may find it morally reprehensible. But what Gavin has decided is he's going to play the game, because if you don't play, you automatically lose. And so you can play the game while also saying, I don't like the game.
Can you?
Yeah, you're making my point.
Congressman. I don't know if that's true.
Well,
I don't know if you tell
Abby.
Americans that, like, you know, we're going to just normalize this whole thing.
It is
and I'm
normalized.
going to go, you know, when they go low, I go lower. That's the thing that people are saying these days. That the actual representation of that is this. How do you go to the American people and then say, kick those people out and put me in instead?
Because it's the politics of escalation. That is what is going on in the House that I serve in. That's what I see every single solitary day. I mean, again, right, you remove one person from committee on one side, the next year they remove two. You remove two, they remove four. They don't like what Biden's DOJ did, what Trump's DOJ is worse. Okay, and so it's the politics of escalation. And so Democrats could decide not to play. But then we lose, hold on, but then we lose in the communications game. Then Democrats say, we're not fighters, we're not fighting. The reason Gavin is rising is that they look at him as a fighter. They may not like the game, but he's playing to win.
All right. Very quick.
Okay. I think that I would offer this to other liberals out there. The tit for tatting with the memes feels good. Eventually, someone's going to have to wake up and realize that this is fascism that's approaching. It's not going to be. It's not going to just be a meme that's going to be the response.
Lordy.
There's going to have to be more people in the streets. There's going to have to be more really hard decisions made about how you want to live and what your future should look like. And that's not going to just be yelling back at the guy.
This reaction right here is exactly why this tactic works. The moment their behavior gets mirrored back at them, the whole performance falls apart. The people who constantly posture as tough and dominant suddenly become the most fragile voices in the room. The outrage turns theatrical, the offense becomes performative, and the meltdown arrives right on schedule. That obsession with toughness isn't confidence, it's compensation. When cruelty becomes part of a political identity, it's usually because confronting reality would be far more uncomfortable. So everything gets filtered through mockery and outrage instead of substance. It stops being about ideas and turns into a need to assert dominance over people they've decided are beneath them. The double standard is impossible to miss. They can casually label entire groups as threats. They can use language that pushes boundaries without consequence. But the moment that same tone is reflected back at them, it's instant victimhood and instant outrage. That cycle reveals the truth. The original rhetoric was never about principle. It was about intimidation. And once that intimidation stops working, the mask slips. That's why moments like this matter, not because anyone enjoys the ugliness, but because pretending that politeness alone will fix bad faith politics hasn't worked. Extending grace over and over hasn't changed the behavior. What actually breaks through is refusing to play the role they expect you to play. That doesn't mean abandoning values. It means refusing to let bad faith tactics go unanswered. You can still fight for policy, rights, and real change, but when politics turns into spectacle, acting like decorum alone will save the day just looks disconnected. Optics matter. To many viewers, silence doesn't read as dignity. It reads as surrender. Most people aren't tracking every policy detail. They're watching confidence. They're watching resolve. They're watching whether someone looks willing to stand their ground. And that shift is what you're seeing right now, not because it's pretty or ideal, but because the rules changed a long time ago. Pretending otherwise only benefits the people who changed them. What do you think about this style of political confrontation? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. Until next time, this is Mike Flint, cutting through the noise so you don't have to.